So today we're getting to join. There's a couple cool things on the table. I'm excited to participate as well. But we're joined by Pfizer and the team there. And so I'm going to go ahead and invite up Evelise, and you could go ahead and share with the rest of your team. So thanks for coming.
Thank you. Yes, hola, hi. We are very excited to be here today with all of you and sharing a little bit about what we do and what got us here. Why are we here? So share a little bit about stories. We're going to get to do some hands-on things. We're going to get to talk about Pfizer and all the great science that goes on just across the river, which is pretty cool to have a really big research and development facility right here in our community. So with me, I'm not going to talk a lot about me right now because we will share our stories in a minute. But with me, I have two other scientists from Pfizer as well that will also share their stories with you. So Maria is right here with us, and Roger is right there. So again, my name is Ibelis, and yeah, let's get started. Today is supposed to be very informal. Like, we're very happy to have questions, and we got a lot of show and tell, and a few things we're gonna leave a little bit for like after we finish speaking. You guys can come up and you can touch and you can ask as many questions as you want from everything that we have up here. Okay? Yep. So the first thing that we're gonna do, if we can have the next slide, is talk a little bit about Pfizer. And I'm just gonna go right here so that I can see the slide too. So we are chemists, we are all chemists, and it's funny because even within chemistry, there's different types of chemistry. So we're gonna talk a little bit about what we do, but we all work making medicines, which is a pretty cool thing to have and to do if you know that you're helping people at the end of the day with what you do every day, which is pretty cool. So the process of making medicines is very long, 10 to 15 years, and it has a lot of chances of not working. It's hard. That's what we want to say. It's really hard. So it has a 90% chance of failure. So we just have to, like good scientists, just keep trying. So the stages of development, so this very, very long process takes, let's divide it in 4 different stages. One of them is what we call the discovery stage, and it's pretty much a lot of biology and chemistry, really studying what causes disease and how can we fix it. Is there anything that we can do? Is there any medicine that we can design to fix the problem? This is actually where Roger works, so you can ask him questions about that phase of development right here. Then after that, after we have an idea, right, and we have a molecule and it looks like a little tiny little bit of this little powder, that's a molecule that has the potential of saving a life. Then we need to try into people and do some toxicology studies, pretty much to say, okay, now we have a good idea to solve this disease. Is it safe? Is it safe for humans to take? So we do that in what we call phase 1, and then after that, once we prove that it's safe, then we have to do clinical studies with a lot more people, a lot more patients, to actually demonstrate if that little molecule actually helped the patients just the way that we intended to do it. The cool thing about these is that once you go into patients, you don't give them this little powder, right? You give them something like this. So that's a lot of chemistry and engineering in actually making not necessarily the little powder, but now you have to have a lot of engineering to see, okay, is it a capsule? Is it a tablet? Like, what size is it? And here I have, and then you can take a look at more like this, what shape does it take? These are the bottles, different size bottles that we use. These are for liquids. There are medicines like for little kids, like for babies that they cannot swallow. So that's out there. So see how you need to think about who is this medicine for? Is it used in a hospital? Is it used anywhere else? Is it gonna be given by mom and dad? Or is it something that somebody can just take? Then there's a lot of commercial, like market research that goes on to pick the colors and the shapes. Check this out. See? Like you can you imagine like if grandma or grandpa, like they are already taking a lot of medications and vitamins and things like that, so you cannot give them something that will get them confused. So you have to think about all these things, and it's very, very exciting. So once you actually do all of that, then you submit it to what we call the regulatory agencies in the United States. It's the FDA. Many of you might have heard of it. And they regulate everything, every medicine, every medical device, they regulate. And at the end of the day, we have to demonstrate for them that it's safe. They review all this data, that it helps patients as intended, and that it meets all regulations and the quality standards, that we can make it in a way that is safe for everybody to take. So again, Pfizer here in Connecticut has all phases of development there, which is really awesome. It is the biggest R&D site in the US, actually. It's now the biggest site in the world. So it's really nice that it's just across the river. It's a great place to work. And we do research in many different therapeutic areas: internal medicines, anti-infectives like antibiotics, antivirals. You know, all our work in COVID and RSV and pulmonary disease, a lot of cancer research, inflammation immunology, and then all our work vaccines. So that's us, Pfizer. So first, you need to study in what we call toxicology studies. Like you use cell lines first, then you use like small, like we do some animal research, and then you actually do in humans. First of all, we do it in a very small, maybe 12 healthy volunteers. Why healthy? We want to see if it's safe, and those are the people that actually, and we start with very little. And guess what? We have a clinical research unit. We have a Pfizer hospital. And that Pfizer hospital is here in Connecticut. It's in New Haven. So we have our own Pfizer clinical research unit that is there. But yeah, humans first. Yeah. Awesome. So if not, think of your questions. And like I said at the end, you guys can come, you can see, you can touch. We can talk a little bit more about medicines, but for now, let's talk a little bit about us and our stories. And for that, I'll let Maria go first.
Hello. Can I get the next slide? So, hi, my name is Maria Fernanda. I work at Pfizer in their analytical research and development, so I'm a chemist. Very different type of chemist than Roger is, but nevertheless a chemist. So I'm going to talk a little bit about my story, where I grew up, culturally, where I'm from. If you have any questions, please feel free to stop me. So we'll start at the beginning. So I was born in Bolivia, and I immigrated to the United States when I was 3. And I grew up in New Orleans, so a little street cart. This is me in high school with some friends. This is my family. So it's my brother. He's a civil engineer. He graduated in 2019, and that's my mom. And then I was very fortunate to become a Questbridge Scholar, which y'all are all eligible for in your high school years towards the end. And then Questbridge, actually, I always like to say that Williams College found me, and I was able to visit. They paid for everything, and I was able to go to school on a full ride, which was really, really important. I majored in chemistry, art history, and studio art, so I really got to explore the facets of art and science. I've worked in many places, so I'm very fortunate. But college was really important to me. I always loved school, but it wasn't always easy. I actually have dyslexia, and I didn't know until I was in college. So It was really tough sometimes, but I always found a lot of joy in helping others, and I wanted to use science to do that. And then this is my department, so research in like analysis. So talking about a little bit more what Evelise talked about, when we look at patients and we are determining efficacy or like if it's safe, it's a lot of data, and I'm one of the people that helps kind of go through the data, make sure that everything is signed off. I help release material into clinics, make sure it's safe, it's exactly what we want it to be, how much is the dose. So a lot of science and math goes into the behind the scenes in determining how drugs move through the pipeline. And our biggest job is to make sure that nothing goes wrong, that we are saying what it is, it's exactly what it is. And then I also help write filings, and my data goes into filings. And so, but most recently, I made a big decision a year ago to apply to business school. And I was accepted to several programs, but I will be committing to Yale Business School this coming fall. So this is me 2 months ago at admitted students with the bulldog. They brought the bulldog out, which he's a lot bigger than what I thought he was. But I'm super excited to go to Yale and continue working in healthcare and pharmaceuticals and working more on the business side with scientists to help develop new companies, to work with Pfizer, hopefully later on in my career, and make big decisions about how business and society work together to form communities that are equitable and safe for everyone. Next is Roger.
Hi everyone, I'm Roger Machine Rivera. I was born and raised in Puerto Rico. So I did my undergrad there in University of Puerto Rico at Calle. Really beautiful campus. That's there, the theater. I started as a biology major, and then I was like literally about to graduate, and I decided to put a stop on that and switch to chemistry. So that took me like 2 more years. That what you usually do for a bachelor, but that's fine. You don't have to have everything figured out through college. There's a lot to explore. So yeah, so I ended up with a minor in biology as well. So, but you know, while I was doing my my degree, I was heavily involved in science from the beginning. So doing a lot of research, especially in the chemical synthesis area, through like different like programs such as RISE. But there's many more. It varies by school. At that time, I wanted to be a chemistry professor, and that's why I kind of like switched to chemistry major, because I kind of like Google, and if you wanted to be a chemistry professor, you needed to have like a PhD on that field. So I was like, okay, then I need to switch to chemistry. So I switched. I decided then to move to North Carolina, to NC State. So this is actually the chemistry building behind here. It's called Dabney Hall, and this is the brickyard. Now this day, they made this beautiful like green patio at the front, and they destroy it completely because they're gonna expand the building into for like more science, more collaborative science. So it's kind of cool that they're expanding. While I was doing my graduate studies, so I get to meet a lot of people, do a lot of outreach to students as well, and I was able to kind of like teach, which is like what I wanted to do at that point. But I also, during my work, I got connected with Pfizer through this program. So I drove, not my convertible, because I don't have a convertible, but I drove up to here to Connecticut, to Groton, and I participated in this summer internship, and pretty much I disregard the option of becoming a professor. So I really liked, working here at Pfizer, working with the people and with the mission and what we do. So I kind of like went back to school, finished the degree, and then I applied to Pfizer. So here I am as a senior scientist in medicinal chemistry. So as a synthetic chemist. So I'm very early stage of the research development, so different from Evelise and Maria. So if you have any questions on that stage, I'm the person to reach out. So yeah, any questions, feel free to ask. So next person is Elise.
Thank you. All right. Yeah. So I'm Ibelis. I'm also from Puerto Rico. Yay! That's me and my sisters. Back in Puerto Rico, this is me. I'm the oldest one of us. I actually am a proud also graduate of University of Puerto Rico. So I am literally like born and raised there. I moved to the U.S. later in life, and part of the reasons is that I was afraid. I was afraid of leaving home. So many opportunities kind of presented for me to, let's say, okay, let me do my bachelor's degree in Puerto Rico. My best friend from high school left and she did her degree in Utah. And I was like, wow, no. And I didn't. So it's totally understandable, right? And then, okay, I want to go to grad school because I also wanted to be a professor. Actually, before that, I wanted to be a medical doctor. I was still scared. Even after my bachelor's degree, I didn't want to leave the island, so I actually went to graduate school at the University of Puerto Rico. In the university was when I discovered chemistry, and I loved it. But I have a few things to show you here, and the importance too for the families and the family support out there. So I do have some show and tell. So this is very special to me. My parents gave me this when I was 8. And I've kept it all these years. It's very important to me, and it is a symbol of, first of all, like how curious. It's all a matter of, I was always interested in seeing why are things the way they are, asking questions and going and mixing and doing things. Like I'm attracted to all of this. And it's not hard. It's, sometimes you have the impression that, oh, math is too hard, and it's like, no, don't think like that. Stay curious. And the other thing I have here, and this is very nerdy of me, guys. I won this trophy when I was in 9th grade. It was a science fair trophy. And I really, it was awesome to have a teacher that was very much dedicated to the science and really got me. So if you ask me, like, when did you know that you wanted to study science? I mean, I've always wanted to study science. But like Roger says, right, like life takes, I wanted to be a medical doctor, then I went into college and I just loved chemistry. Biology was just not for me. So I switched my major to chemistry, and here I am. So I moved because I first wanted to be a professor, and somebody told me that I needed a postdoc. So I'm like, okay. And the postdoc couldn't be from Puerto Rico. Like, they want people to go out there and experiment, and I was like, oh, okay, this is it. I gotta leave. So I went to Atlanta, Georgia, and that's where I did my postdoc at the Centers for Disease Control. That was really cool. And then from here, then I said, okay, what do I do? You know what? Now that I'm here, let me try more. Because I had already moved from Puerto Rico, so instead of going back, I stayed, and this is where Pfizer got me. And then I loved it so much, working in R&D with Pfizer, so that was the big move from Georgia to Connecticut, and then I kind of moved around a little bit, Connecticut, Rhode Island, Massachusetts. And my husband is from Connecticut, so I am married and I have a daughter, and as you can see here, that's that microscope. So it is very important, right, like for you guys to see and for all the adults in the room to really cultivate that curiosity. And really, it's super important. So I am also an analytical chemist, just like Maria. And I don't go in the lab that much anymore because now I'm more what they say, what they call a pharmaceutical sciences team leader. So I have a team of scientists working with me on different projects. But that's me, getting in the lab coat and going in the lab and doing my experiments as well. But now, something that I'm extremely passionate about is really doing these kind of things, like this. It's important for all the students, the kids, to know what possible careers can you get in science and people that can actually help you in anything that you need. So we go to classrooms, that's actually my husband, and we go to schools just doing experiments. We go to conferences, and yeah, this is not the first time that Roger and Maria and myself are doing things like this. So this is us at a conference a couple of, about a year ago, 2 years ago? 2 years ago already. So we do think that representation matters, right? And that us Latinos need to go out there and help other Latinos to actually bring that example. This is me, Latina. I love to dance, so that's what I do outside of work. I love to dance. So that's me. So if there are no other questions about us and our stories, I do want to show you one thing before we move on to the. So Maria, we're gonna start. What I want to show you, because I brought them in, and I'm not sure that I can hold the microphone here, but can you still pick me up, maybe?
Yeah, that's perfect.
Okay, perfect. So this is the machine. This is part of the machine that we use to make tablets. I wanted to show you this so that you can see how it works. So we have different shapes and sizes of tablets here. So the machine has something like this. And then there's this little piece that fits into here. And then it leaves like a little hole in there, like a little cavity. And then you fill that cavity up with powder, and comes another piece of tooling, just like this one, comes from the top and pushes the powder really, really, really hard, compresses it, like it just a lot of pressure. And then when you go like this, boop, pops it out. It pops out a tablet, and the tablet is of that size, of course, like the size of that cavity. So this comes in different shapes, sizes, thicker, thinner, and that's how we make the tablet. So I do have some sugar, so if you guys have energy afterwards and want to compress some sugar tablets, we can do that. But for now, let's go to the hands-on piece just so that you can keep moving, and Maria and Roger will be leading us through an experiment.
Can we get the next slide, please?
Next slide.
Yeah, so we brought some stuff. I think the best part about science is that you see it in real life. And for me, transcending science out of a classroom and getting to work in it was so much more exciting, and it felt like I was really making an impact on other people. So, but today we're gonna do something, it's called pH. Can I get the next slide, please? So pH, so why is it important? pH is everywhere. We actually quantify it on a scale of 1 to 14, and it measures very simply how acidic or how basic a substance or a solution is. So here we have examples. So 7 is neutral, and that's water, which is really important, which is why water is so powerful. But here we have like an egg has an 8, baking soda is 9, and so as we start to move in either direction, it can become very dangerous and corrosive. So they actually have really interesting chemical properties that we then utilize in medicine to help us as like in our bodies to digest food. So our stomach is usually around 2 to 3 acidic. That's why like when your stomach hurts sometimes, they tell you to take Pepto-Bismol. Pepto-Bismol is actually basic. So it helps balance it so that it brings up the pH to help with that like feeling of like acid, like, oh, like that burns. That's why. So that's why lemons, they're like bitter. They're very acidic. So they end up over here. Like here we see the 2, stomach acid. Batteries also have a 0, so they're very corrosive, which is why it's really important to dispose of them correctly. They can be very dangerous. But as I was talking about, like the digestive system, pH helps break down food and medicine in your body to absorb. And so we utilize these properties of chemistry to create drugs that enter your body and are able to kind of break and then get absorbed and make it to the target in your system that it needs to go. So if our medicine needs to help you in your liver, we want to make sure it gets there. And we want to make sure it gets there correctly, effectively, and that's why it's so important to follow directions for medicine, like labels and dosages. But a lot of science, as Evelise was talking about, goes into how this is gonna act in the body. And it's a lot of engineering, and it's very, very cool. We call it formulation. But today we're gonna do a demo with 16 wells. It's 16 or it's 12. And so we're gonna look at household solutions from bleach to baking soda to vinegar. I made some indicators, so that's the purple stuff that you see right there. It's just cabbage juice and water. But we're gonna be very safe. So it's really important to be safe when you're doing science. So everybody's gonna get goggles, put on their gloves. Roger's gonna be over here, and then we're kind of gonna go through it. And we really want you to like see how pH is very colorful. We often utilize color to signal chemical reactions. So we know something's changed when it changes color. So we use color all the time in the lab. No. Okay, yeah, so just come up, we'll get everybody, set it up, and if you have any questions, like feel free to like ask us, but this is very informal. So yeah. Yeah, yeah, that's it, so yeah.
Make sure you put on your gloves, fix your goggles. You're gonna be able to go home with the goggles, so these are yours. They're really useful.
Gloves that fit me right. My hands are big, but they're small.
They're not gonna.
My hands are probably bigger than yours.
I use medium.
No, don't drag it.
Those are eggs. You got other size?
Well, these are small, so they're better. So yeah, let's try the small. They're better. Sorry. Yeah, sorry guys. Yeah, let's see. Maybe these are better.
Give
Let's
them
try,
to Sophia.
let's try these.
Give them to Sophia.
Feel a little sweaty, like kind of like go like this to the drug, and not to different changes in life or diet. So, ready? I'm so sorry. Are you okay? Okay, so you're gonna see everybody's gonna get a well. Do you have one? No, you have one right there. Oh, okay. So here, you can have this one. So it separates into 2 aspects. And I just want y'all on the back of the one that is like with the cylinders. In A1, so there's a corner. You can look at the letter A first, and then the number 1. Yeah, and you're gonna write a C or a control, and that'll let us know where we started. Right? There's several solutions. So we have vinegar, we have baking soda, we have laundry detergent, we have water. And so what I then want you to do is, there's 2 sets of these, and for each one, I want you to either, I think we're gonna start with vinegar. Yeah. That one. It's control. Oh. Hey, Roger. So this is a control. So first we're gonna start putting the control into the little well plate. And you're gonna put a couple drops in. Yeah, so you're gonna take the dropper.
In this one.
Control one.
Put the purple one in.
No, there's more.
So, just a couple drops. It doesn't have to be tons. Okay. So you wanna open it. Oh, here. So you wanna use these, not those, because these are all like numbered for very specific ones. So some on the bottom. You wanna take, you wanna press the top, dip it, and then release, and it'll like second up. Yeah. Yeah. You want to dispense the whole thing, just like this. Yeah. Just squeeze it right into there.
Yeah.
Oh, into this.
That should be enough.
It's okay. It's okay. It's okay. No, don't worry about it. This is why we label. This is why we label. So yeah, so all in the corner. Oh yeah, you can put it back in here. You can put it in one of So. Alright, so everybody's following. Alright, so we have that, right? And so you can cover it to make sure that like you're not like moving things around. So next, we are going to look at where is two? Sorry. There.
With water.
Yeah, two is water, right? And so you can either go down or to the side. It's or really anywhere. This is yours at the same time, right? I'm just
Let's go in order.
yeah. All right, so we're gonna go to B1. So yours is a little different. So if you want, you can have it because see, so you were on the wrong. This is A. so you can do here.
C2.
Okay. You want C2.
Oh, wait, no, that's it.
Oh. So here's two.
Oh.
So two is water. So there's only one water, so we can all share while I kind of talk a little bit about. Yeah.
So then after switch the droplets,
Yes. So there should be a two. In here. I guess it must have fallen out. Sometimes they fall out. It's okay. You can use a new one. Yeah. So some of the droppers are labeled two, and so those are the ones that you want to use for every solution. You don't want to cross mix, because then you're gonna get. So make sure it's open.
Yeah.
So make sure you're well open. So you're gonna want to put it right here. Oh, you're waiting for the water.
No idea if all that's out.
Take. Yeah. Right. And then.
Wait, is that the same one that you used for the one? Okay.
Should we just continue with three?
Yeah. And then we start filling 3, 4. 3 is
Just apple juice.
yeah, it's just apple juice. So you're gonna want to mix it a little bit.
Or
We're gonna do C1.
okay.